Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to another edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. And it has been a huge week of Modern Horizons 2 previews. Obviously, some of those previews have had an impact on card prices in the secondary market. You're going to see that throughout the video today, as well as a whole lot of other things. Quickly before we get started though, just a fast reminder, if you go to FlipsideGaming.com, you can use that Heroes promo code to save 10% on orders over $10. Currently, you can pre-order Modern Horizons 2 products there, plus they have a whole lot of other things on their website. Remember, if your order is over $100 or it consists only of singles, shipping will be free in the United States. Also, whenever you use that promo code, it does support the channel, which is always appreciated, so thank you. And without any further ado, let's get into it. Alright, we'll begin with the Standard Legal Spotlight. This is where we talk about standard legal cards that are moving the most this week. And because there is so much happening in the secondary market, this week again, our threshold is $2. We're not going to talk about a card unless it's moving at least $2 up or down. Now, when it comes to standard, you know this already if you've been watching the videos, but there's not a lot happening right now when it comes to cards in that format. So let's see what is happening. First, we have a couple cards going down in value. Korvold Fakir's King. This is the copy from the list. It goes down $5.19 to $23.40. This was only on the list during Kjell time. It's normalizing down a little this week. This card does see Pioneer play in Jund's Sacrifice. It's also a very popular commander and part of the 99 of some builds too. And the second card going down is another one from the list that is Bone Crusher Giant. It goes down $23.94 to $4.25 this week. This was added with Kjell time, but taken away with Strixhaven. Basically, what you're looking at here is a price correction based off the big spike we saw last week. This does get a ton of standard play, though. It's in Mono Red Aggro, Prismari Midrange, Naya Adventures, Gruul Midrange, Temur Ramp, plus much more. This also continues to see a good amount of play in other formats, Pioneer, Modern, Legacy, and Commander. Brazen Borrower, and this one's going up in value. This is another card from the list, but it does climb up $3.53 this week to $38.63. Now, this one was only on the list through Zendikar Rising. Sees a lot of standard play. It's in Prismari Midrange, Temur Ramp, and more. Pioneer, you'll find this in Is It Phoenix and more there. Also, this is in a lot of builds in Modern, Legacy, Vintage, and Commander too. And that takes us to the Pioneer Legal Spotlight. And another thing you may notice in this video, which I didn't mention this week at the top of the video, there are still some of those same cards out there that are being manipulated pretty aggressively, and we are going to continue to skip those cards until there's some new news about them. For now, though, let's look at the Pioneer Legal Spotlight and see what's happening there. One card going down in value, it is Shivan Dragon, the copy from Revised. It goes down $3.20 to $22.49 after some recent spikes. This does see a little commander play. Some players, though, are interested in classic dragons right now because Dungeons & Dragons Adventures in the Forgotten Realms is coming out this summer, and we already did get a preview card that is a 5-color legendary dragon from that set. It is Tiamat. Mnemonic Betrayal is our first card going up in value here. It goes up $2.45 this week to $8.50. This has seen an increase in commander play in Cody Vociferous Codex builds recently. Also, this is used many times as a win condition in different competitive commander decks. But the reason this is really moving right now is Modern Horizons 2. There was a card previewed that could make this better in the future, at least for Commander players, maybe for other groups of players too. The card I'm referring to is on the left, Fractured Sanity. Now, on top of that, there does appear to be some other support for Mill in the set. There's another example to the right, not as powerful, Mystic Redaction. Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth, the Ultimate Master's copy, goes up $2.13 to $24.50. The Time Spiral Remastered copy goes up $2.93 to $19.11. Sure, this was just reprinted, but you know what else is getting a reprint really soon? Cabal Coffers. That is going to be in Modern Horizons 2. And that does open up some new avenues, considering people like to play Cabal Coffers with Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth quite frequently. With that news, other copies of the card are already going down in value, even though we're not featuring it in today's video. Just keep that in mind if you're trying to pick up a copy. Now, aside from all that, Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth is just still a good card no matter what. In Pioneer, you'll find this in Jund's Sacrifice, Rakdos Pyromancer. Also sees play in Modern, Legacy, and Vintage right now. Plus, this is a very highly played Commander card. It's in some new builds around Strixhaven cards too, things like Beledros Witherbloom, Exodus Auric Overlord / Awaken the Blood Avatar, and Dina Soulsteeper. Tireless Tracker is next. This is the copy from Mystery Booster. It goes up 370 to 1472. In Modern, many times you'll find this in Amulet Titan and Grill Midrange. In Commander, this is a good upgrade to Quantum Quandrix. Also, some players are adding this to decks built from the ground up around cards from that deck. Things like Adrix and Neb Twincasters and Essex Fractal Bloom. But the reason this is moving up right now the way that it is because of Modern Horizons 2 again. I have already seen this appear in some Commander deck lists around this card right here on the left. Lannis Cryptozoologist. Also, it does appear that there's other cards in the set that are giving some support to Clue tokens. There's another example on the right, Academy Manufacturer. As Foretold is back again. It goes up $19.03 to $40.22. You'll find this one currently in Modern Electro Balance. It also has seen some increased Commander play around Veyran Voice of Duality, either as an upgrade to Prismari Performance or in a deck built around that card from scratch. But again, the biggest reason this is moving is Modern Horizons 2 previews. As Foretold works really well with cards that don't have a casting cost, like some Suspend cards. Check out these cards that have been previewed already. Profane Tutor, Glimpse of Tomorrow, Gaia's Will. Those are all Suspend cards that do not have a casting cost. And the last card, I'm going to try to say it. Do you think I can pull it off? Okay, let me try. Esmerano Martica Akulda card. Also does not have a casting cost, although it is not a Suspend card, as you can see here. I gotta say, every week with all these new Magic card names, I'm always doing a lot of takes, always trying to get it right. This is just over the top, but I kind of love it too at the same time. I think I pulled it off. And that takes us to the Modern Legal Spotlight. First, we'll look at cards going down in value and then some going up in value. First, we have Gemstone Caverns from Time Spiral. It goes down 514 to 3823. Now, this card has been soft because it was reprinted recently in Time Spiral Remastered. In Modern, many times you'll find this in Mono Blue Tron. Also, this gets some Commander play in a variety of builds. Creekwood Liege, this is the one from Eventide. It goes down this week 528 to 1912. This is retracting after some pretty big spikes that occurred recently. Many Commander players were picking this up as an upgrade to Witherbloom Witchcraft. This is in Commander builds around a number of new cards as well, like Willow Dusk Essenseer from that deck, and also Beledros Witherbloom and Dina Soulsteeper. Here's another card that was spiking pretty aggressively recently, and now it is retracting, Savra Queen of the Golgari. Ravnica City of Guilds goes down $508 to $12. Guilds of Ravnica, the Golgari Guild Kit copy, goes down $608 to $15. This card was hot because it was in some new builds around Strixhaven cards too, like Beledros Witherbloom and Tina Soulsteeper. Liliana of the Val, the copy for Modern Masters 2017, goes down $690 this week to $90.50. Now, this card is not seeing as much Modern play as some anticipated after that last banned and restricted list update, but it is still doing pretty well in Modern. You'll find this in Jund, Rakdos Midrange, Mardu Stoneblade. This also does see Legacy and Commander play too. I have already seen this in some early deck lists as well around a Modern Horizons 2 preview card in Commander. That card is Karth the Lion. And our last card going down is one that has spiked heavily again recently. Auriok Champion actually went up quite a bit last week, losing a little bit of its momentum this week, going back down 862 to 5688. This does see play in a lot of Modern builds right now. Heliod Company, Hammer Time, Humans, Orzhov Stoneblade, Death and Taxes, and more. I guess the question is, how much of an impact will Modern Horizons 2 have on the Modern format? And will that result in this card seeing even a little less play? Time will tell. And on top of that, this does see some Commander play. This is in Shadrick Silverquill and more there. Alright, our first card going up in value here is Bloodghast. It goes up 501 to 1862. This is the copy from the list though, and it was only in the list through Zendikar Rising. In Modern, you'll find this in Dredge and Crabvine. Legacy, it's in Hogak. Vintage, it's in Dredge and many times Hogak there. When it comes to Commander, some have recently picked this up as an upgrade to Witherbloom Witchcraft. Also, I've seen this in new builds around cards like Gaiom Master Chef and Exodus Auric Overlord. Alright, here's a card we haven't seen in a while, Arcbound Ravager. Darksteel goes up 478 to 1877. Modern Masters goes up 520 this week to 1863. Now, this hasn't seen as much Modern play as it has in even recent years, but you can still find this in Hardened Scales, and Vintage, of course, it's in Ravager shops. Some players have picked this up as an upgrade to various Commander 2021 decks, like Lorehold Legacies, Witherbloom Witchcraft, Silverquill Statement, and as you would imagine, this is also in some new Commander builds from the ground up around cards from those decks. Things like Oscar the Reconstructor, Gaiom Master Chef, and Felisa Fang of Silverquill. All of that is well and good, but that is not the reason this card is jumping the way it is. The reason it's moving this much right now, again, falls back to Modern Horizons 2 previews. We have seen a number of cards that support cheap casting cost or artifact token strategies, and even the modular ability is back, believe it or not. Let's look at some examples. All these cards I'm about to show you could mean Arcbound Ravager could be getting better in the future in Modern, Commander, who knows, maybe other formats too. First we have a couple multicolor cards. Arcbound Shikari and General Ferris Rock Eric. On top of that we have Urza Saga, which is a land as well as a saga. We've talked about that card in previous videos. And check this out, 10 more cards, all either white, red, or artifacts that support this type of strategy. Arcbound Mouser, Esper Sentinel, Late to Dinner, Arcbound Whelp, Brea's Apprentice, Ragavan Nimble Pilferer, Monoskelion, Steel Dromedary, The Underworld Cookbook, Zabaz the Glimmerwasp. And if that's not enough for you, we have a cycle of 10 indestructible artifact lands that give you 2 different colors. They do come into play tapped, but they are common. Next we have Cavern of Souls. The Ultimate Masters copy goes up 371 this week to 8934. The Modern Masters 2017 copy goes up 604 to 9189. Now this did join the list with Kaldheim and that led to some price stabilization, but now these copies are moving up. Modern, you'll find this in Amulet Titan, Eldrazi Tron, and much more. Also gets legacy play, plus it is a highly played commander card in various builds. Krark's Thumb is next. The list copy goes up 1212 to 3471. The one from Mirrodin, the original, goes up 1603 to $42. This does see some commander play, but this always spikes when there's a new legendary creature with a coin flip ability previewed. This time, that creature is right here. Yusri, Fortune's Flame. There's also a reprinting of Chance Encounter in Modern Horizons 2. So it does appear that there could be some more cards supporting coin flipping as well coming up in the previews. And that does have people thinking about grabbing Krark's Thumb if they don't already own it. And finally for this section we have Sanity Grinding. This goes up $17.69 to $20.50. Now this does see some commander play in Bruvak the Grandiloquent. However, the reason this is spiking is because it is a mill card, and we discussed why mill cards could be sought after a few moments ago. On top of that though, you might have noticed that this is an Eventide rare that has yet to be reprinted, so I think I gotta use my one per video. If you watch these videos, you know this. During this time in Magic, there was a recession in the game. Less packs were cracked. Some of these rares from that time, if they haven't been reprinted, they can get spiky when people pay attention to them. And people are definitely paying attention to this card this week. Alright, that's going to take us to the Vintage Spotlight. Remember, there's still a lot of market manipulation out there when it comes to vintage cards. I'm trying to avoid in these videos the really egregious moments of market manipulation. Remember though, when it comes to card prices in this section, or really any section in the video, we are talking about near mint, really high grade card prices. And these are also average prices. So if you shop around, by definition, you should be able to find these cards cheaper. And if you don't mind getting a lightly played, moderately played, or heavy played copy, you can get them much cheaper in a lot of cases. On top of that, there is a weird phenomenon going on with many of these vintage cards currently. They are disappearing off the market, even if they're not reserve list cards. But then a few months later, they show back up, but this time they're graded and selling for more. So it does make you have to really re-examine the way you look at these card prices, just simply because you're seeing an average price, which includes graded copies as well as non-graded copies. Many times the value you see on the screen is going to fall somewhere in the middle between the graded and non-graded high-grade copies. But if sales don't match up with what I'm seeing there, I will point that out. So let's see what is happening here. First we have Mana Crypt from Eternal Masters. It goes up 703 to 172.75. Great vintage card, great commander card in many builds, old and new. This is a 0 casting cost artifact, so it could play well in the future with Urza Saga, which we saw earlier. We have Cosmic Horror. This is the one from Legends, the original. It goes up $10.10 to $37 this week. And here's an example of one of these non-reserve list cards that people are picking up in high grade because they do want to get them graded. You're going to see a lot of that in this section today. Urza's Mitre, now this one is on the reserve list. It goes up $11.56 to $116.95 this week. Plateau, the copy from Revised, goes up $12.09 to $369.99. Elvish Archers, this is our first of many unlimited cards in this section today. So if you see a white bordered card, it's going to be unlimited unless I tell you otherwise. I won't keep saying this is unlimited, this is unlimited. But this one's going up $13.99 this week to $84.86. Northern Paladin, this goes up $14.52 to $34.50. Savannah, this one's from Revised. It goes up $15.41 to $395.99. Island Fish Jasconius from Arabian Nights, the original. It goes up $20.41 to $76.50. Upheaval from Odyssey going up $22.52 to $24.94. What is happening here? Well, first off, this is banned in Commander, so it's not that format pushing it. The reason this is moving up this much right now is because we found out this week that it is getting reprinted in Modern Horizons 2, which will make it Modern legal. Even though that set will bring more copies, it also could bring a lot more demand if it turns out that this works well in a deck in Modern. Some players are thinking that this could be decent in something like Mono Blue Tron. Winter Blast, the copy from Legends, goes up $24.50 to $99. Pixie Queen, this goes up $24.81 to $275.49. Next is Web, it goes up $27.09 to $54.74. Spinal Villain, this goes up $31.36 this week to $160. Ashnod's Transmogrant, the one from Antiquities, it's up $33.29 to $86. Chromium, the copy from Legends, increases $36.20 to $114.99. Goblin King, this goes up $36.75 to $148.71. Living Lands, this is up $41.90 to $100, although I think if I pulled the price at the exact same time this week as last week, it would have fallen off just due to the fact that it does feel like it's been pretty stable this week. Now, aside from that, though, this is an unlimited card that has a little more going behind the scenes than just, hey, people want to pick it up in high grade, get it graded, and resell it. This one actually has seen some increased play recently in Commander. Many players want to grab this to play with Eudora Gravegardener from Witherbloom Witchcraft. Turns out if you have Eudora, you have something like this in play, as well as a sack outlet like Altar of Dementia, or Ashnod's Altar, for example, which you'll see why I use that one as an example in a few moments. You can sacrifice your forest creatures, and then keep sacrificing them to create a loop. This also got a Command Zone mention this week too, which could bring further attention to it. Natural Selection, this goes up $52 to $489.99. Sunglasses of Urza of $53.99 to $101.43. Brain Geyser, 2 copies going up in value, revised up $323 to $53.47. Unlimited goes up $55.60 to $348.69. And this does see some Commander play in various builds. Good old Arabian Nights Mountain is back. It goes up $62.09 this week to $395.01. Rock Egg from Arabian Nights. This is the B variation, and you can tell because it has the lighter casting cost in the upper right-hand corner like you see in the picture. It goes up $64.53 to $199. Mishra's Factory. This is the Antiquities Winter variation. It goes up $95.01 to $565. Most likely moving because a lot of people want to get this highly sought-after Antiquities card in high grade. But this is getting reprinted in Modern Horizons 2, so maybe in the future you could put your fancy Mishra's Factory Winter variation into a Modern deck. Stasis, this goes up $97.80 to $449.99 this week. Scrubland, this one goes up $100.01 to $875. Fungusaur, this goes up $102.17 to $119.99 in theory, but this is the first card that is seeing some market manipulation that I wanted to point out. Raw copies in high grade are only selling for about $20. Acid Rain, this goes up $106.24 to $255.31. Gwendolyn Decorside, this goes up $115 to $800. Royal Assassin, this goes up $116.01 this week to $384.98. Rock Hydra, this is up $118.22 to $488.49. Although, in reality, if you look at true sales, high-grade raws can break about 100. High-grade graded copies haven't sold in a while. The last one sold for about 130, so I'm sure next time we see one sell, it will be for more. Maybe not quite that high yet. This could be a situation where sellers have some graded copies and they're just fishing for offers. Winter Orb is next. It is increasing $119.90 this week to $237.49. Illusionary Mask. This one is going up $161.24 to $720, or is it? The price is closer to a high-grade graded copy. Like when you do come across a card like that, you might pay something close to this price. However, high-grade raw copies, they sell for about $225 currently. Mirror Universe. Now this one's more in the middle, like most of the cards we've been talking about between high-grade raw and high-grade graded. This one is up $201 this week to $650. Howling Mine, the 7th edition copy goes up $383 to $999, but let's talk about that unlimited copy real quick, going up $349.92 to $455. Again, this is an example of a price that's much closer to what you would pay for a high-grade graded copy, as opposed to being in the middle like most of the prices that we have seen today are. Now, if you want to pick up a high-grade raw copy of this card, those tend to go for closer to $155 to $165. Now, it is a very popular Commander card. It is in a lot of different builds, old and new, and it did get a Command Zone podcast mention this week, too. Deck and Blackblade, we have Chronicles going up $7.91 to $16.98. That is a statement. And Legends is going up, well, in theory, for $16.49 to $699.99, but that one is inflated. So when it comes to Legends, the high-grade raw copies are selling for about $190. Graded copies and high-grade are selling for about $300 right now. So what is causing all this interest in Dakin? Well, turns out Dakin is in a new card in Modern Horizons 2. They brought the character back, this time as a Planeswalker, and that card is Dakin Shadowslayer. The Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale. This goes up $800 to $6,500, and yeah, believe it or not, you could see that as a true price point in between high-grade raw and high-grade graded copies. Tropical Island up $849.50 to $2,399.50. Is that one for real? Well, raw copies are selling for about $15.25. Graded copies right now for about $18.25. However, since the raw copies have gone up recently, I could see future sales of graded copies going up and at least getting close to this price soon. JM Tome, now in theory this is going up $877.42 to $999. In reality, that's pretty far off. But the card is still going up in value, so I decided to include it here anyway. High-grade copies are now breaking about $100 for a raw copy. Graded copies going for about $150, but it's been a while since there's been a sale, so the next one will be higher. It won't be $1,000, though. Chaos Orb, again, another expensive card, and yeah, this does fit in between high-grade graded and high-grade raw. This goes up $895 to $2,245. Mox Ruby, now this one is a little inflated even though it is a Mox, although just keep in mind, Moxes are going to go for what anyone's willing to pay for them. So if there was a really, really high grade one, who knows, maybe it could see this price point at some point, but right now it's going up $1,310.01 to $7,690 in theory. In reality, high grade raw copies can break about $3,000, graded ones about $6,500. Alright, it's time for that Commander Spotlight. A lot of cards to talk about, so let's jump in. Xanthic Statue up 208 this week to 609. This does see a tad bit of Commander play, but really moving probably more so due to its status on the reserve list. Once again, the foreshadowing pays off. Ashnod's Altar, the 6th edition copy, goes up 222 to 1651. Very popular Commander card and combo enabler. We discussed one of those combos a few moments ago, and the reason most likely this card is moving as much as it is. Although, this has also seen increased play in some other decks around Strixhaven cards like Beledros Witherbloom and Extisoric Overlord. Plus, this did get a Command Zone podcast mention as well this week in regards to Eudora Gravegardener. Mycosynth Lattice, the Battlebond copy, goes up 224 this week to 5240. Good upgrade to the Lorehold Legacies Commander 2021 deck. Or, again, you can find this in new builds around cards from that deck or from new Strixhaven cards. Things like Alibu Ancient Witness, Oscar the Reconstructor, Galazeth Prismari. In Legacy, this is in Karn Echoes and more. And of course, we know there's artifact strategies in Modern Horizons 2. Additionally, this also got a Command Zone mention this week as well. Mikaeus the Unhallowed from Ultimate Masters, it goes up $226 to $48. Sometimes this is a commander, but overall a very popular commander card regardless. Some have picked this up as an upgrade to Witherbloom Witchcraft, or others have put this in a new build around a card from that deck, Guillaume Master Chef. But the reason this card is moving this much right now, again, is because of Modern Horizons 2. There is a lot of support for the squirrel tribe there, and squirrels happen to be non-human creatures. On top of that, we have a legendary squirrel that's green, but it has black in the color identity. We're going to be looking at that card as well as all of the squirrel support a little later in the video, but just keep that in mind. Imperial Recruiter, the one from Double Masters, goes up $229 this week to $41.99. Now, this is another card getting reprinted in Modern Horizons 2, so even though more copies are coming, in theory there could be more demand in the future due to the fact that this will be Modern legal. On top of that, this is a solid commander card. It's a good upgrade to Prismari Performance, Lorehold Legacies. This is also in some new builds around cards from those decks and new Strixhaven cards. Exodusoric Overlord, Veyran Voice of Duality, Rionia Fire Dancer, Oscar the Reconstructor. On top of that, this sees legacy play in Painter's Grindstone and also in some food chain builds. Yawgmoth's Will from Urza Saga, creeping up just a little bit, $230 to $347. Solid commander card in various builds, and a good vintage card too. Deep Forest Hermit, this goes up $238 to $477. So this is from Modern Horizons 1. It is going to be reprinted in Modern Horizons 2 in a retro frame, but Modern Horizons 1 cards in retro frames can only be found in the collector boosters in Modern Horizons 2. On top of that, they only come in either foil or etched foil. Some players might still be interested in a non-foil copy of this card. Now, a few things about the card itself. Some people have picked this up as an upgrade to Quantum Quandrix. Others are building around cards from that deck from scratch. Essex Fractal Bloom, Adrix and Nev Twincasters, Ruxa Patient Professor. Before that, a lot of players picked this up for the Toski Bear of Secrets builds in Morin Commander. But of course, this is a card that ties into the Squirrel Tribe. And as promised, let's quickly talk about the type of support we're seeing for Squirrels in Modern Horizons 2. Who saw this coming, right? First, you have Chatterfang Squirrel General. That is that legendary creature I mentioned earlier. And then we have 9 other cards that support the Squirrel Tribe as well. Underworld Hermit, Chatterstorm, Scurry Oak, Squirrel Sanctuary, Squirrel Sovereign, Sylvan Anthem, Verdant Command, Trey Keeper, and Ravenous Squirrel. On top of that, there's even reprints in the set that could help squirrels out. Things like Patriarch's Bidding, as well as Squirrel Mob. This is far from the last card tied in with squirrels that's going up in value today. Next, though, we have Shardless Agent from Eternal Masters. It goes up $252 to $5.35. This sees commander play, but it is moving now because of Modern Horizons 2. Earlier, we saw cards that do not have casting costs, and those do play well with Cascade. There was also some leaks about this card a few weeks back. If you want to avoid the leak, I'll let you skip to the next card. Now, this has not been confirmed at the time of recording, but there was a rumor out there that this was going to be reprinted in Modern Horizons 2. If that's the case, then this will be modern legal in the future. Avacyn, Angel of Hope, the copy from Iconic Masters, goes up $254 to $44.23. This gets a lot of commander play in Kali of the Vast and more. Elvish Piper, this is the one from 7th edition. It goes up $261 to $16.85. For the most part, this particular copy is drying up a little bit online. This has seen a little increased commander play in Jadzi Oracle of Arcavios / Journey to the Oracle. And also, Modern Horizons 2 is reprinting Kyrion Ranger, making it legal in Modern. That could be moving this a little bit too, based on some speculation. However, I don't know if this card would be great in Modern, and I don't know if the Elf Tribe would really be able to excel in this current Modern meta, considering the amount of burn that's out there. Saproling, Symbiosis. This goes up $274 this week to $12.40. This is another card some have picked up as an upgrade to Quantum Quandrix, also in fresh builds around Essex Fractal Bloom and Ruxa Patient Professor. Snapcaster Mage, Modern Masters 2017 goes up $236 to $69.95. Innistrad goes up $283 to $75.23. In Commander, this has seen increased play as an upgrade to Prismari Performance. It's also in a number of new builds around Veyran Voice of Duality. In Modern, this is in Through the Breach. That deck has been doing very well in Magic the Gathering Online, also in Control builds and other places in the format. However, Through the Breach and Control builds stand a chance of getting better perhaps with the release of Modern Horizons 2, bringing Counterspell to the format. On top of that, this also gets a lot of legacy and vintage play. Demonic Tutor, the copy from Revised, goes up $284 this week to $54. This was just reprinted in the Strixhaven Mystical Archive subset. And for the most part, Demonic Tutors have been losing a good amount of value since that reprinting. However, this one does rebound slightly this week. Huge commander card, it's in many builds old and new. Also sees a lot of vintage play. Elvish Champion, the copy from Invasion. This is a little dry online this week. It goes up $308 to $30.02. This is in Commander Lathril Blade of the Elves builds and more. And like I said before, perhaps this is moving a little bit because of the Kyrion Ranger reprint in Modern Horizons 2. Stone Calendar up $327 to $49.86. This has lost a lot of value recently. It's rebounding just a little bit. This can see a small amount of commander play, but I do think it's moving up just because of its status on the reserve list. Insurrection, this is the original one from Onslaught. It goes up $331 to $18.31. And this has seen some increased commander play in Cody Vociferous Codex, and Exdisoric Overlord builds. My own personal tutor is back. It goes up $3.49 to $91.99. This is a tutor, so it will see Commander play. Many times this is in Legacy Doomsday too. Wheel of Fortune, this is the one from Revised that is creeping up again, $3.65 just a little bit to $426.51. Big Commander card, seeing more play now and builds around Veyran Voice of Duality, Exdisoric Overlord. This is good with Magecraft. If you are lucky enough to have a copy, it is a great upgrade to Prismari Performance. Sylvan Tutor, another tutor, so again, you know this will see some Commander play. I have seen this already in early Lana's Cryptozoologist deck list too. This goes up $3.87 this week to $89.46. Reflecting Pool, Tempest goes up $3.90 this week to $38.63. Shadowmoor goes up $4 to $38.96. Huge Commander mana-based card and builds old and new, especially good in 4 or 5 color decks. This is also found in some Modern Control and Through the Breach builds. 2 decks we mentioned a moment ago that maybe could get better in the future. Winds of Change, that Portal copy going up $4.72 this week to $59.45 as it does remain dry in the secondary marketplace. This is a solid Commander card in different builds, including Arjun the Shifting Flame. Ren and 6, this is the copy from the list, although it was removed with Strixhaven. It goes up $4.84 this week to $92.36. This gets a good amount of Commander play in Lord Windgrace and more. In Modern, this is in Taking Turns, another deck that's doing really well right now in Magic the Gathering Online. The deck got better when it added a new card from Strixhaven, Velomachus Lorehold. This is also in Nib to Light Bear, Grow Midrange, Jund, many times Scape Shift, and more. Also sees vintage play. Chrome Mox, a 0 casting cost artifact that is very popular in Commander. It's in a lot of different builds, old and new there. Legacy, it's in Mono Red Prison and much more. Mirrodin goes up $2.05 to $63.44. Eternal Masters goes up $5.08 to $69.92. Survival of the Fittest from Exodus. This is a solid Commander card. It's in a lot of different builds. Goes up $6.56 this week to $328.56. Druid's Call. Here's another card that is tied into the Squirrel phenomenon. This goes up $7.18 to $16.98. And like all these other cards tied in with squirrels, it did get a little bit of a push recently from Toski, Bearer of Secrets. That could have paved the way by making the market a little bit lighter. Then, of course, Modern Horizons 2 previews came out and just pushed these cards over the edge. Earthcraft. Now, this one goes up $9.36 to $195.95. I think the main reason this is moving this much is the fact that it's a reserve list card that would be good in a squirrel deck. It combos with Squirrel Nest. As a matter of fact, sometimes you'll find that combo in Toski, Bearer of Secrets builds in Commander. Additionally, though, this has seen more play in Beladros Witherbloom decks, and I have seen this in some early builds around a non-squirrel related Modern Horizons 2 preview card, and that's Thrasta Tempest's Roar. Here's a reserve list card that cares about flipping coins. It is Frenetic Efreet, and of course we know why this is moving up because of what we saw earlier in regards to coin flipping in Modern Horizons 2. But again, because this is on the reserve list, it's jumping up quite a bit, $11.71 to $44.96. Hidden Path. Now, this doesn't see much Commander play, a tad bit here or there. Maybe it could be decent in a Squirrel build, but I think the main reason it's moving this much right now is because it is dry in the secondary marketplace, jumping up $16.24 this week to $36.23. We'll have to kind of see what happens with this card in the coming weeks. There's a chance it could stabilize and go back down quickly if there's more copies added to the marketplace. Here's another card that's moving because of the squirrels. Liege of the Hollows up $18.43 to $40. And I think it's moving again as much as it is because it is on the reserve list. You know it won't be reprinted, and it is getting harder and harder to find in good condition. Norwood Priestess, this is another elf. Now, this one will eventually get reprinted, I'm sure. But right now, there's only one copy of this card, and it is from Portal Second Age. It's really hard to find in good condition. It does see a tad bit of Commander play. It goes up $18.74 this week to $157.69. Again, though, there is some inflation around that price just due to the fact that there's not a lot of copies for sale right now. Deranged Hermit up $25.97 to $125.94. This is a good upgrade to Quantum Quandrix with Essex Fractal Bloom, or in a new build around that card from scratch. But you know why this is going up. It's a reserve list card with the tie-in to Squirrels again. And the last card in this section is Nut Collector. Holy cow, $50.53. It goes up to $74.38, at least in theory. I saw a light played copy sell for about $50, So if a high-grade copy sells soon, yeah, it most likely could hit this price point, which is amazing. So at some point, hopefully this gets a reprint. It is another card, of course, moving because of the squirrels. That takes us to the premium spotlight. There's a ton of premium cards moving in the secondary market. There's also a lot of market manipulation. So be careful out there. I can't possibly cover all of the cards that are moving in these videos, and I don't have time to do additional ones, unfortunately. So if you are interested in picking up a premium card, just do your research, do your homework. I try to focus on cards in this section that feel like for the most part they're moving up due to gameplay and due to things that are happening when it comes to metas. Sometimes those cards are still getting artificially inflated, but I do point that out when that happens. Again, in this section, the prices you see on the screen are going to be similar to something you might see on a price tracking website, and then I'll let you know if there's any differential in sales. We're going to start off with a couple 7th edition foils. The picture that you see has a white border. I don't have any black border pictures, but remember, 7th edition foils do have a black border. Elvish Archers is the first one. It goes up 1688 to 8887. Now, 7th edition foils can get kind of inflated. Sometimes the market just snowballs with these because they are hard to find in good condition. This one, as well as the next one, feel like they're moving pretty naturally, though. That's why I wanted to feature them. Now, when it comes to true sales, the highest sale I have seen for a high-grade copy is $75, so this is not an unrealistic price. This next card is the Northern Paladin 7th edition foil. It goes up 1710 to 154.49. Basically a high-grade graded copy sold, and that's what's pushing this price point. The last raw copy in decent grade, though, sold for about $50. Saproling Symbiosis, the foil from Invasion, in theory going up 1931 to 51.50. The highest sale I've seen for this is a high-grade raw copy for $32, but that was a while ago. I feel like this price could be close. Sanity Grinding, the foil from Eventide, up $22.79 to $36.05. Highest sale I've seen for this one is $34, so yeah, this is pretty close. Wheel of Fortune, the Judge foil, percentage-wise not moving a lot. It goes up $26.98 to $2,089.95. This card has been pretty steady for a bit. This could be an indication of a potential move going forward, or it could just remain steady. This price, though, is more reflective of a high-grade graded copy. I do want to point that out. You can get raw copies cheaper. As foretold, the pre-release foil up $26.55 to $70. The Amonkhet foil up $40.31 to $87.50. Now, when it comes to real sales, I've seen both of these go for about $50. There's just not a lot of foil copies out there for sale right now. And the ones that are for sale, sellers are asking for prices closer to this price point. Krark's Thumb, the foil copy for Meriden, goes up $52.20 to $180. Now, I haven't seen them selling for this price, but recent high-grade raw copies have sold for $70 to $80, which is up about $10 to $20 from last week. Nut Collector, the foil copy from Odyssey, up $70.61 to $143.06. I have seen high-grade raw copies selling for about $100 now. $143 might not be out of the question in the future. And finally, we have Deranged Hermit. Recent high-grade sales have hit these prices. The Urza's Legacy foil up $106.91 to $410. The Judge foil goes up $141.01 to $299.99. Alright, that does it for this Market Watch. Wow, Modern Horizons 2 having a big impact on the secondary market. We have a number of days of more previews coming out, so I'm sure when we sit back down next week, we're going to see more cards jumping up in value. Until then, though, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. Stay safe out there and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon and have a great day.